Inside Out 2. It's an animated film. It's based on this little girl named Riley, who obviously is fictional. She has within her heart these different emotions, which are personified by different characters. So there's joy, sadness, anger, disgust, and fear. And for the longest time, because she's young, she has a simple sense of self. Her sense of self is simply, I'm a good person. And the core emotions, joy and whatnot, they're really intentional about trying to preserve this delicate sense of self. So much so that they have this catapult. Basically anything which reeks of like painful memories, they put in this catapult and they launch it to the back of Riley's mind. Now, early on in the film, Riley becomes a teenager. So all these new emotions arrive on the scene, led by anxiety. And anxiety has this plan. Because Riley is older, because life is complicated, because the world is difficult and painful, we need to come up with a new identity, a new sense of self. So instead of, I'm a good person, how about this? I'm not good enough. Now the core emotions are like, that sounds kind of messed up. And so they object, but then they're put in the catapult and they're launched to the back of Riley's mind. So they become repressed emotions. The thing about anxiety is that it's meant to keep you safe, and it kind of works. So it reinforces the behavior, right? So you see in Riley's life, okay, I'm anxious, but in a certain sense, I'm strong. I'm productive, I'm efficient, I produce that which the world finds to be important and valuable. And the world will always encourage you in that particular direction. Joy in particular, she has this moment where she reflects on it. She's like, gosh, is that just what happens when people get older? They just become more anxious, and there's no room for joy. Now, fortunately, they snap out of it and they come up with this plan to go back to headquarters. So what they do is that they release this stockpile of painful memories and they ride the wave all the way back to headquarters. And they realize that Riley is suffering from this massive panic attack. And initially, Joy thinks, well, the solution is to simply replace the anxious sense of self with the childhood sense of self. And she does that, but it doesn't work. She's still anxious. She's still in the throes of this massive panic attack. And then Joy realizes what I need to do is discard the old and to allow this new thing to emerge. This new identity, this new sense of self, based on the compilation of her painful memories and her pleasant memories. And so she uproots this childhood sense of self. And this new identity emerges. Instead of saying one simple thing like, I'm a good person or I'm not good enough, there's a whole compilation of statements. So what you hear is, I'm selfish. I'm kind. I'm not good enough. I'm a good person. I want to fit in, but I want to be myself. But I'm scared. I make mistakes. I'm nice. I'm mean. I'm a good friend. I'm a terrible friend. I'm strong, but sometimes I need help. With that last statement, Joy leans in and just gives her a big hug. All the emotions, they join in, and pretty soon all the emotions are hugging Riley in that new sense of self. So embracing her and loving her in her messiness, in her complication, and in her vulnerability. And that's the thing which makes her strong. So what you see in terms of real life, she is talking with her friends, and her friends are like, are you okay? And initially she lies. Initially she's like, yeah, I'm okay. And then she's like, no, I'm not. So she admits her struggle, she admits her weakness, she admits her messiness and vulnerability. And she acknowledges that by acting out of this sense of vulnerability and anxiety, she's hurt them. And so now she asks them for their forgiveness, and she's forgiven and reconciled. The relationship becomes stronger because of this newfound spiritual maturity. When you build your sense of identity and the sense of self based on anxiety, obviously that's not good. Symptomatically it's painful, but existentially it's not good as well. It flies in the face of the reality of your dignity as a beloved child of God. God who is both Father but also powerful, so there's that. But at the same time, to simply say that I'm a good person, full stop, is also not good. And why? Because it feeds to this notion that I don't need help. I don't need anything. I don't need people because I'm a good person. The sweet spot is to adopt the language of Pope Francis. So once Pope Francis was asked in an interview, who are you? And he paused and he thought about it and he said, well, who am I? I'm a sinner who has been looked upon by the Lord. I am a sinner who has been looked upon by the Lord. So I am good. I'm a child of God. I'm capable of amazing things by the grace of God. But at the same time, I'm weak. Sometimes I get scared. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I do selfish and hurtful things. I hurt people, I hurt myself. And so I need help. I need grace. I need patience. I need forgiveness. I need reconciliation. I need love. And I need God. You always have to go back to this thing that the very name of Jesus means God saves. There will never be a moment in your life when you don't need to be saved, when you don't need help, when you don't need love, because you will always need Jesus. But that's okay, because Jesus is real, and His love is true, and He's fully present to you in the messiness and complication of your actual life.